Welcome to the Susan LoPresti Wellness Mind, Body, and Soul podcast, the podcast designed for women in midlife and beyond who are ready to reclaim their health, restore their energy, and create a vibrant life that they love. I'm Susan LoPresti. I'm a certified health coach. I'm a Reiki Master, wellness advocate, and fellow traveler on the journey of healing and transformation. After overcoming my own health challenges and discovering the powerful connection between mind, body, and spirit, I made it my mission to help other women thrive, not just survive, as they age. Each week, you'll discover expert insights, inspiring stories, and practical tools to support your health, longevity, and emotional well-being, as well as spiritual growth. We'll explore topics like nutrition, functional medicine, fitness, hormone health, stress reduction, energy healing, meditation, and the habits that help us live long, healthier, and more joyful lives. Whether you're looking to boost vitality, navigate life transitions, or deepen your connection with yourself, you're in the right place. So grab a cup of tea, take a deep breath, and join me as we nurture your mind, strengthen your body, and nourish your soul. Let's begin. Today's guest is Natasha Joy Price. She is first and foremost an energy healer, having spent the last 23 years exploring and learning about energy healing. On her first Reiki session, Natasha had an unusual experience which made her passionate to find out more about universal energy. And from that point, she has delved into a fascinating spiritual adventure. Natasha is a Reiki master, sat in a circle for 6 years, and completed a master's in parapsychology while working as a solicitor and bringing up her 3 children. Natasha focuses on our energy fields, what they contain, how our energy fields relate to our physical bodies, and how we can clean and clear our energy field for optimal health, whether that be physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. To fully understand the processes, Natasha has trained in many complementary therapies and now offers one-to-one sessions in energy management, Reiki, theta healing, past life regression, therapy, and soul continuum work. Natasha is also an author and regularly writes for the online magazine More to Life. She has published 2 books. Her first is called Freedom of the Soul and is a proactive workbook designed to help readers find their unique spiritual path. The second is her first novel, The Red Magus, and is based around past life regression and how connecting to events in the past can affect and shape our present life. Both books are available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. Natasha is also the host of a podcast, Balm to Your Soul, which has now been running for 5 years and has over 150 episodes available for download with amazing guests who are all passionate about their modality or expertise. Paying subscribers can also access additional episodes where Natasha takes them through Freedom of the Soul with concepts and ideas, meditations, and exercise. So without further ado, this is such a powerful episode. I just can't wait to dive in. Natasha, it is my absolute pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having me on. It's lovely to meet you.
You're welcome. I have so many questions and want to know so much about you. You spent 2 decades studying and practicing energy healing. What first sparked your interest in energy healing?
I had an experience that sort of made the walls of my life at that time explode outwards. So I just had my third child. I had terrible swollen ankles. It was really hot summer. And somebody said to me, "Why don't you go and have a Reiki?" Never heard the word, didn't know anything about it. I'd spent 10 years. I had a corporate job. I lived on a residential estate. I had a husband, 3 children, busy, chaotic, normal life.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any knowledge about energy healing, spirituality, not really, nothing at all. So when somebody said, go and have a Reiki, I didn't even know what it was, never heard that word before. But I went, took my son with me in his carrier cot. The lady had a little dog under the table. And I lay there and I didn't relax at all. And I think that's probably because of the nature of my life at that time. Young mum, we're busy, mind's going overboard. But I had a really bizarre experience. And when I look at it now, I actually think it was a paranormal experience. I've never labeled it that until recently, but I think it was. And basically, I saw the room full of spirits with human faces, just just moving around the room, even ducking down to look at me as if they were, who the hell are you? Why can we suddenly see you?
Oh my God.
And I actually lay there and thought, am I frightened? Is this frightening? And I thought, no, I'm not frightened. I'm fascinated. And the lady said to me, are you okay? And I said, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm fine. Thank you. I didn't even tell her what had happened either. But it really did blow the walls of my normal life down, and I suddenly was fascinated, absolutely fascinated. And so that triggered all of the study and all of the trying to understand what it is that I'd seen, trying to understand where that came from, why it had taken me all that long until I had 3 children. I was that age. Why had I not seen this before?
Yeah.
So that triggered the start of 20 years plus of just soaking up as much information as possible, really. Not with the view to have a business or anything like that, just simply, I was fascinated. I was fascinated. And it just sparked something in me. And I couldn't let it go. I needed to know, I needed to understand, I think.
Did
That's
you
what
ever
triggered it.
figure out why it happened to you at that particular time of your life? Was there something going on in your life where you were looking for a transition of some sort or in some sort of struggle?
No, at that point, I don't know why it occurred. It appeared to me at that time. A few years later, I found a painting by a Mormon artist that literally depicted what I'd seen. So I found that fascinating as well, and studied him and his sort of influences and why he had drawn it like that. But I can only assume that there was another dimension. We are connected to something else. What we see as our reality is not the whole picture.
Yeah.
So I think that's why. But why it happened at that certain time, I don't know. I can't tell you that.
Did you feel comfortable when this experience was happening, or did it make you scared or nervous, agitated?
No, I wasn't scared. I just became very curious.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't tell anybody about it at that time. I was fascinated, but I didn't want other people's judgment on it.
Right.
And I had 3 children, young children. I didn't want to be seen as being crazy or anything like that. So I just
Yeah.
kept it to myself. I kept
I
it to myself.
I could understand you
Yeah.
not sharing that because people would
Yeah.
say, "Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
What is she drinking or smoking?"
Exactly, exactly. So I thought, no, but it didn't frighten me. And their faces were, it was calm and it was peaceful. There was no fear involved, but it just sparked something in me and I just had to discover more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for my listeners here who may be new to this whole concept, what exactly, if you could describe it, what is an energy field and why should we pay attention to it?
So to me, we all have an energy field. We all have this. In simplistic terms, this is how I explain it to people, but a bit like a snow globe, the children's toy with the ornament inside. So we have this bubble of energy around us, and we are in the middle of it. And this energy flows through us. So it flows through our physical body. And it is completely interrelated to us physically, mentally, emotionally. So within that energy, it flows through our physical body, so it's connected to physical ailments and what's going on in the body, but it also contains all our thoughts and our emotions or our life experiences. So if you've had a traumatic childhood and you've not dealt with that and you've stored those emotions from that, and they will be sitting in your energy field. So that's how I see energy healing and an energy field. So it's part and parcel of us. And I feel that I've come to believe that if we are not looking at our energy field, if we are not cleaning and clearing it every day, then we're missing a piece of the jigsaw that is our overall holistic health. It's like we're missing one element. So it's really important to look, in my view, at our energy.
Yeah.
And I see all the different parts of us, whether we talk about emotions or mentally or physically or energetically, it's all like a beautiful piece of organic machinery and it all flows together. So if there's one aspect that we're not looking at, the rest of it's not flowing as well, if that makes sense. It's like
Yes.
a cog is off balance, nothing else is going to flow as well.
So basically, it impacts your physical, your emotional, your mental well-being
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Yeah, it is part and parcel of us, and we can't distinguish between all of those parts. We begin to realize now more and more that a lot of physical ailments have emotions behind them, have childhood traumas and the emotions or life experiences or adult traumas. Those emotions we store in our body, and we've begun to realize that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all those parts of us are intertwined and we can't separate them.
What are some of the common signs that someone's energy field is depleted or blocked or just carrying unresolved issues?
When they come to me, the way that I see it, a healthy energy field is really bright colors, which always shocked me when I first saw
You see
that.
it, you and yeah.
Yes, yeah. And they're bright flowing colors. It's beautiful. And if there are unresolved issues, then it can begin to gray and it can begin to stagnate and it can even spike and break in some way. And then people come to me for a variety of reasons. So it could be that they have a physical symptom, that perhaps it's just they're not shifting it, they've tried everything, they've got a diagnosis, but they're just not getting anywhere with it. Or perhaps they come and there's an emotional, they just have waves of sadness coming over to them and they can't equate to what that relates, or whatever it is, we work on it from an energetic angle. And there are so many therapies out there. And I believe that we're working on the same thing, but it's like a huge circle and we're all coming at it slightly different tangents. And I come from the energy side, basically. So we start looking at the energy field. The therapies that I do are like Reiki and theta healing, past life regression therapy. So we look at the energy from all of those angles using those therapies.
What was the second one you said?
Theta healing.
Oh,
So
okay.
theta
Yes.
healing. So that's the
Yes.
brainwave state that
Yes.
the practitioner me would change my brainwave state to remove something from an energy field. It's quite hard to explain that one.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So there could be lots of reasons why people come for therapy sessions, and they might just come because they're curious and just think, I want to know how this works. Or maybe this will help me. Let's have a look. They might be very open-minded. So and I work at it from that angle, if you like.
Yeah. So what kind of misconceptions do you see that people don't understand it? And
I think the main one is that people think it's outside of us. So they think that energy
Yes.
flow, we're bringing in something from outside, and that it can be looked at that you're playing about with energy that actually could be harmful, or even so much as that people think it's evil and they've
Oh.
been told to stay away from it. And I think they're blurring the edges between metaphysical events and energy healings. But I think, yeah, yeah.
Do you get some clients that come to you that they're desperate because they're in some kind of a struggle, let's say
Mm.
physical or emotional, but yet they're a non-believer?
Yes, definitely.
So they're
But I
at
love it.
the point where they can't figure it out and they'll do
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. So, but I love a skeptic.
Yeah,
That's
you
fine. We
do?
can
Yeah.
work with skeptics. I can give you an example. I had a friend of mine who developed psoriasis. So that was the diagnosis he'd been given, and he had a huge patch of dried skin, and it can get very angry and inflamed, but it ran from his knee right down to his ankle. It was really quite, and he didn't believe in what I do. He would call it all woo. And I said, just bear with me. Okay, so when did it start? What happened? And eventually he said, oh, I had been carjacked. So I said, what do you mean you've been carjacked? And he said, at work, he used to drive a van at work at night for various reasons, and he'd been held up by a guy with a gun, pulled out of the van. They'd stolen the van. So I said to him, did you have some therapy? Did you have a counselling for it? Anything? Did you talk about it? He said, oh, no, I went back to work the next day. Typical man. He just
Yeah.
wasn't, I'm fine. We're going back to work. So we did a lot of clearing of those emotions from that, which was a real trauma. He
Yeah.
brushed it off as nothing, but it was a real trauma, and his psoriasis cleared up. Now, I can't guarantee to clear up symptoms. I would never say that. But clearly, that had developed because of the emotional impact it had on him, and he'd done nothing about it. He'd just gone back to work. He, what we do is we put these emotions from an experience like that, we put them in a box, we put the lid on, and we push them somewhere in our body or energy field, and or our minds even, and we don't deal with it. I'm
Yeah.
too busy, I've got to go back to work, I don't want to talk about it, etc. And then eventually that will all begin to rot and seep out, and that's when you can get symptoms occurring years after the event. That's why people have the childhood traumas. Sometimes it takes them a long time to sort of sit
Yes.
down and deal with it, but that's how it works. So yeah, he was a complete skeptic, but after that, he
A
was a,
believer.
I wouldn't say a believer. He went, oh yeah, maybe, but
Yeah.
I was pleased. It
Yeah.
healed up.
So, how could someone strengthen and protect their energy on a daily basis?
There's a lot of things they can do. Thoughts and words are a great one, because thoughts are energy, and words also have a frequency and a vibration, etc. So I say to people, just be aware of your thoughts. People can get lost in their own sort of scenarios in their head that might not even be true, but they create this story, and there comes a point that it can really push them down. It's like that, just that turning point. So I get people to just watch their thoughts and watch their words as well, because if you're always being self-deprecating all the time, and that's going to affect your energy, that's really going to affect your mindset, that's really going to affect you on a physical, mental, and energetic basis. But I also give them exercises. I do a lot of mindful visualizations. So I often do it in the shower, because that's, you don't have to find any extra time every day, but a shower is often a good one, because even when you've got young kids, hopefully you can jump in the shower for 5-10 minutes on your own, and you can do it then. So I give them visualizations just to see their energy being cleaned out, anything they don't need to hold on to, anything that's negative or blocking their energy, just seeing it going down the drain. And it's a bit like flexing a muscle. the more you do it, the more important it is. But for energy therapies, intention is the switch, really. So when I first trained in Reiki, I didn't understand the importance of your intention. But actually, intention is incredibly powerful. And it is literally like flicking a switch for energy work.
Now, are
So
you talking about the practitioner or the person that comes to you, or
both.
yeah,
Both. So if they want to start working on their energy, they have to set that intention very clearly, very specifically. And me as a practitioner starting a session, I will want to make sure that our joint intention is very clear, and then we can follow the energy. But that sounds a bit woo-woo, but it is, I have found that's essential. Intention is what flicks the
yeah.
switch for energy.
As a
Definitely.
Reiki master, how would you describe Reiki to someone who has never experienced it before? You have a person come to you for the first time
Yeah.
and you need to give them a synopsis.
Reiki is a very ancient Japanese modality. So it derives from Japan, and it was devised by a Buddhist monk. And it's a way of channeling energy, the universal energy, to the practitioner, to the client. Sorry, the practitioner is acting as a channel for that energy. They channel the energy from the universal energy around us, and they channel it. And it's the universal energy that is the intelligence within that scenario, if you like. The practitioner is not directing it. The practitioner should not be making any decisions or should not let their consciousness come in. It's the energy that knows where to go, and
Right.
it's the energy that affects the person and affects their energy in Reiki.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So you mentioned theta healing, right?
Yeah.
Also, you practice soul continuum work and past
Yes.
life regression therapy.
Yes.
So we went through Reiki. What exactly is theta healing? Let's get
So
into that.
yeah, I call it theta. That's our different accents, but
Oh,
yes, I'm sure it's okay either way. But theta healing, theta brainwave state is slightly when the practitioner slows down their brainwave state, and at that point, they can remove beliefs from the client. So we identify clients using kinesiology, muscle testing, identify emotions, and beliefs in the client through kinesiology, and then the practitioner will remove them by going into a different brainwave state. It always sounds a bit weird when I try to explain it, but it is actually incredibly effective. And I once volunteered as a guinea pig for a guy called Marcus who was doing a PhD in meditation, etc. And when you get wired up, you have all the probes on your head and you could see brainwave states on the computer. And I thought, this is a brilliant time to test whether I actually go slow my brainwave state. Because although you learn this theory, I thought, how do I know that my brain is going into theta brainwave state? Do you know what I mean? That
yeah.
I have to have validation when I do things.
Yes.
And I just thought, I know what it feels to me, but how do I know that is going into a theta brainwave state? So I volunteered for this when this came up and I saw it was local to me. And I went along and he wired me all up. And I thought, I'll just go into theta brainwave state while he's chatting to me, what I think is theta brainwave state. And he said to me, what are you doing? You're in theta brainwave state. What's happening? And so I knew that was validation for me. Actually, what I'm doing is correct here. I can
Hmm.
take this into theta brainwave state. So that was great validation for me. But the sessions are really interesting, and the clients feel a shift. They really feel a shift when they go back to their ordinary lives. So what we're looking for beliefs that sit in the energy field that they might not be conscious of. And they don't have to be logical, and they can come from past lives, they can come from childhood. You know, that when children should be seen and not heard. That was
Mm-hmm.
often a very common
Oh, yes.
from my era.
Mine too.
So often you will have that belief running in your head, maybe not consciously, but I shouldn't be heard. I've got nothing to say. And of course, you're an adult now, and of course, you should be heard, and of course, you've got something to say. But that belief that's going round your head is affecting the way that you present to the world now, affecting the way that you make decisions. So we look at all beliefs like that, and then we remove them and check they've been removed by the muscle testing.
So I've heard that you could go into theta state by closing your eyes and rolling your eyes up, like looking up. Is that true?
Yes, I think that's how it was the way I was taught. I have now created a shortcut, if you like, but
Uh,
I think that's how you're initially taught. I have heard that. Yeah, that is. So when you initially learn it, there's a huge long process that you go through to get your mm, to get your brains into theta state. But because I've been doing it for so long, I actually have a shortcut and just go into that shortcut. But yes, I do believe that's how you can start in that way.
and what exactly happens to your brain when you are in theta state?
It slows down, the brainwave state slows down. So I think I'm not an expert on this, but I think normally we're in like beta, which is alpha or
Yes.
beta. We're aware of what's going on, etc. But it slows down in theta, and then it slows that. Say you're going into a deep meditation, it will then at some point suddenly speed up again, which is gamma, and that's when you gain information from that meditative state. But theta is the slowing down of the brainwave state from normal everyday living.
And then I'm imagining that being in that state, you can put ideas into your mind of healing and you would accept it more.
It's the practitioner that's in that state, not the client.
Oh, I
So the
see.
practitioner's taught to go in that state
Oh,
in order, and when they're in that state, they then remove emotion, thoughts that they've found in the client. So it's not so much the client that goes into that state, it's the practitioner.
oh, I understand. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go on to talk about past life regression therapy. I
Yes.
actually did that once. It was
Oh.
over a weekend, it was 2 days. It was very interesting. Can you
Mm.
explain that modality to us?
Yeah, so past life regression is a hypnotic technique to help you go into a past life and to collect memories from a past life. I do the therapy. So what that means is that again, we look for negative emotions or thoughts that you had in that past life and we transmute them basically while you're in that state. So we change them into something more positive. And that again should have a knock on effect in your current life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's very interesting. What is as far as the success rate, let's call it, is it high with your clients that they feel like it's benefited them in some way? Or do they need more than one session?
Sometimes they need more than one session, but to be honest, I don't think I've ever had anybody who hasn't felt a shift or a benefit in what we've been or have really connected to what we've seen or yeah, just really made them think about their current life in a very
Mhm.
different way and the relationships and things that perhaps they're struggling with currently, that if they see the patterns in the past life or even repeated in the past life, maybe in a slightly different story, but they can see the analogy.
Yeah.
So it really helps them. So I don't think I've ever I don't think I've ever had anybody who said, "Nah, didn't do anything for me." Usually people are fascinated and just it's really resonating with them before they come to me anyway. I have had people who've just come just to see who they are. They're not really interested in the therapy side. They're curious, what was I in a past life? But normally, once we get into a past life, they can see more than that. They can see the analogy with their current life and we can work on things. But every session is so different.
Yeah.
It's just completely different. And even if people are non-believers, again, I say to them, even if you're getting it from hidden memories from a book or a film, which again is a moot point that people discuss a lot, the point is it does shift you. It does change your perspective on things. It does shift your current life. It shifts relationships. So whether people believe it or don't believe it, it works. It
Yeah.
helps people.
Yeah, my experience was crazy with it because, like I said, it was a weekend event that I went
Mm,
to. And so the first day she did the one of the therapies, and in what I saw was me with my ex-husband and a little boy on the
okay.
beach. And I don't have a boy, I have a daughter. And
Right.
then the next day, I also was with my ex husband, and I did not see the baby, but what I envisioned was that I was like in the cowboy days back
Mm,
then, and there
mm,
was a carriage with a cover over it, and there was a baby crying, and I knew it was my baby, but I didn't see it, and it was just the weirdest experience. And the fact that my ex-husband was in that life with me, and then
yeah.
at the time I was still married, I was like, oh, I guess there's some kind of a soul connection there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's often the case. I've seen my son in a past life with me.
And you know, the other interesting thing is that I've gone to see several mediums over the course of my lifetime. And I would say almost every single one of them has asked me, do you have a son? And I always say,
Mm,
no, I have a daughter. Oh, I think you had a son at another time. It's like, oh, maybe. So
mm.
I really, it's interesting.
But you can come back as a different gender if you like. So you seeing a son in another life could be your daughter now, just to say same soul energy. But like I say, often family units come back again and again, but in different ways. So my son, I've seen him in a past life. He was my commanding officer in some battle, which
Wow.
explains a lot. But in that lifetime, he saved my life. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't always recognize the energy, but you often see characters. And when you say to clients, do you recognize that energy? Just focus in on the energy. Do you recognize them? They'll say, oh, yes, it's so and so from this lifetime. So that is often a common thread.
I find
Very
this all
interesting.
very fascinating. Have you
Mm.
encountered any experiences in your practice that challenged your understanding of reality or consciousness?
I think in my training, we did a lot where I was the client because that's part of your training. And I found that I had a lot of lifetimes in the same period of time. And so
Uh-huh.
that was like, I don't understand that. How does that work? So I had to rethink. Obviously, there is no such thing as linear time. We as humans make it linear,
Yes.
past, present, and future, to understand it. So for me, I see it like a cobweb almost across the universe. And we can go to any point of that on that cobweb, and we can go past lives and we can go into future lives on that cobweb. There's no linear time, but there's also seems to be parallel lives as well. So I was able to see myself in all these lifetimes that seem to be at the same time, but there are different timelines. When you start to think about it, it makes your mind go,
Yeah, I'm
it's
trying
like,
to
what?
comprehend.
It's very difficult. And the other thing that I found so fascinating, and I read about this in a book by Denise Lynn, who's quite a famous writer, and she talks about changing your past lives. And I was like, how does that work? This was early on. And I did test it out, and it did seem to make a massive shift for me. So what it seems to say is that it is all energetic, and although we term it past and future and current lifetime, it's actually all quite fluid, and we can change past lives. We can rethink through them. We can shift the emotions that were held there. So it's all a bit mind blowing. I don't say for one instance that I have it all sussed out, to be honest. But all the work that I do, you're just exploring and getting more information, but I don't think we really understand it at all. I
Right.
think, yeah, there's lots of parallel lives. We seem to be able to cross over timelines at times. We seem, like I say, shift past life events and change them. So yeah, all very fascinating.
Can it help to heal challenges that we're having in our present life by going back?
Yes, definitely. It can help them. So, for instance, say somebody comes to me, and this is just a made up scenario, but say somebody comes, they have a constant ongoing stomach issue.
Um,
They've had a diagnosis, they've tried lots of things, but they still have flare-ups. So we go into a past life and ask to go to the root of that issue in a past life. And maybe we will find that they starved in a past life
ah,
and they died of starvation. So we will take them to the point that they pass over in that lifetime, and we will ask them what they're feeling and what their thoughts are at that time. And then we allow them to pass over and we go into a place of healing. And then we will look at those feelings and emotions and we will try and we will transmute them. And perhaps they will need to see characters from that lifetime. Perhaps somebody threw them out on the street and therefore they starved. So there's a
wow.
bit of anger towards that person. So we'll talk to that person as well. And we'll just try and transmute and come to a place of peace with it all. And then when they come back into this lifetime, things shift, symptoms start to improve. And like I said, I guarantee that I heal anything or everything. But often they find that symptoms improve greatly because maybe those emotions were sitting behind that issue. But so there is a lot of connectiveness between past lives and the emotions and thoughts that we had in those past lives, if they haven't been resolved, and our current lives.
Do they require more than one session for someone who needs to resolve some kind of past?
Yeah, they might do. They can do. Sometimes it just completely shifts and they say, I feel so much better, and that's fine. And off they go. But I've had hundreds of sessions because obviously in training, and I think they're all beneficial, to be honest. You're
Yeah,
directed to the one that you need to go to next, if you like. Because energy work is often very layered. You'll clear one layer and something else will come up, and you clear another layer and something else comes up. But you can't skip those steps either. See what I
right.
mean? Sometimes you can't delve much deeper. You've got to clear those layers first to get a full understanding, I think.
What do you say to a client who comes to you for help, but yet they're very skeptical about the concept of it?
Like I say to them, let's you have to be relaxed. You just have to be open-minded, go with the flow. Maybe it is something that your subconscious has seen or heard. But even if it's your subconscious making up a story to help you resolve, just go with it. Let's see what happens. I have had quite a few clients who struggle to see anything. I think if they're not fully relaxed, or they don't believe in what they're doing, it can block what they see.
Yeah.
And I have said to a client in the past, just start making up a story. Just make a story up. Let's go there. And then eventually that went on, and that seemed to go into a space where he could accept what was happening. And we had a very successful session. But it's getting that start of it, really. When you go into that state, it's not like a cinema screen. It's not like this great big blockbuster and it's really obvious about what's going on. Unfortunately, it's not like that. So
But
what we're
it
doing,
actually was like that for me.
well, yes,
You know,
sometimes, but yeah,
yeah.
90+% of the time it's not. So you were very
Yeah.
lucky to have that. And if you're very visual, you're more likely to have but a lot of the time we have to work hard at getting that information,
Yeah.
whether it's maybe some people won't be very visual and they won't see much, but they will know things. So I might say to them, are you married in that? Oh yes, I'm married. And they just know it. Or they will sense things. Are you outside or inside? No, it feels like I'm outside. So it's almost like we collect all these threads and then
Right.
make them into a picture, if you like. But you
Right.
were lucky to have a big to have a
Yes.
big screen. That's fabulous when you see it like that. Makes it easier.
It was so vivid and clear, and
Mm,
I was like, "Oh, wow, this is crazy."
fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to go on to talk about your book, Freedom of the
Mm,
Soul. What
yes.
inspired you to write the book?
So when one of my girls got to, I think she was 17, her whole friend group had mental health issues, really,
Oh,
in varying degrees. It's that sort of that generation, and it frightened me. It really frightened me. That whole generation seemed to be struggling with things. And one of her friends came to tea and she discovered that I did Reiki and that my daughter had been attuned to Reiki when she was 11. And she was fascinated. She became really animated. She was asking me questions. What does that mean? And how does that work? And I thought, you know what, I'm going to write down and it's like a proactive workbook. So they work through the concepts and ideas, and then they've got little exercises and meditations they can do. And it really just came about to give that sort of age group extra tools to work with. So, yeah, that's how it came about, really.
so it's a workbook,
Yeah.
basically.
Yes.
Okay.
So every chapter there's exercises, meditations that they can do. I encourage journaling, getting their feelings out there, but lots of ideas and spiritual concepts, and I encourage them to go off on their own tangent. If they find it interesting, then go off and research a bit in that particular area or whatever, because everybody's path is completely unique to them. But if I can trigger an interest in them, then I think that helps.
So that actually may help to spark some type of discovery and their
Mm,
own unique spiritual
mm.
path.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What's another way that someone could begin discovering their own unique spiritual path? Besides your book, what else would you suggest?
I think just follow your passion. You have to find something that you're passionate about,
Yeah.
and maybe not with an idea of making money or anything else, but I think sort of the vibration of passion, that being fascinated like I was with the experience I had in Reiki. I was just like, that instills that I have to find out more. If people can find that energy, I say go for it. Find something that, even if it's growing a certain plant or baking in a certain way or making the perfect sourdough, or whatever it is, that energy of passion and enthusiasm. And I think there's something quite special about that. And
Yeah.
it triggers people to move along. It triggers more for people, if
Yes,
that
it
makes sense.
inspires them,
Yeah.
inspires
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about the red magus? Am I saying that correctly? Magus?
Magus.
Magus.
Magus. So
Go ahead. Tell us
Yeah.
about that book.
So I was just going to say, mages is the masculine, the plural is magi. So they were like priestesses or sorcerers, or they would birth the babies and they would be soul midwives as well. When one of the tribe passed away, they would be the healer, etc. So that is my first novel. So it's a story, but it's got a lot of information, true information in there, but it is a novel, and it's all set around past life regression. So the central character has just had a baby. She feels a bit lost. She goes for one of her friends does past life regression. So she goes to have a session, and it starts triggering things in her current life. So she goes into a past life and she realizes that somebody is trying to kill her, and she recognizes the energy of her present day partner. So that
Ah,
interplays. That's a bit of a drama. And then she also meets this character, the Red Magus, in another past life, and she begins to think that this character is sending her a warning across time and space. And so it's a sort of unraveling of the information and trying to work out what's going on for her. So I had great fun writing it. I let my imagination run wild.
was any of this experience part of your life in the
Some of it
book?
was like I described the past life regression sessions, and they are as we were taught to do past life regression.
Right.
There's a lot of crystals in it, which I absolutely
Ah,
adore. There's a
yes.
lot of essential oils. Some of the things that she sees in past lives are from my experience, but I've tied it all together and exaggerated a lot of it to make a drama, really.
Yes. So
Yeah.
what do you hope readers take away from this story?
Again, I'd love people to just be interest to be sparked, if you like, curiosity
Yeah.
to be sparked. And maybe they think, oh, I'm going to read a bit more about that, or I'm going to go and have a session, or it just starts people thinking a little differently. And I believe that teaching by storytelling is such a powerful way anyway. That's how the ancients taught. They made up
Yes.
stories. So I think for people reading it, readers, there's so many layers. You'll get the complete skeptic who thinks it's a complete fictional. That's
Yeah.
fine. They can still enjoy the story. But you might get people who begin to think, actually, there's more to that. Okay, that must be perhaps what she believes. So why does she believe that? And it will just, again, spark their curiosity to find out a bit more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Mm.
love that. Natasha, do you work with people virtually?
I do. I've just recently taught Reiki, and the lady was in Leeds, and I'm down in Suffolk in the UK, so miles away from each other, and it was fine, and it worked really well. I have theta clients over Zoom, and recently started doing past life regression over Zoom as
Oh,
well.
interesting. And where
Yeah.
could my listeners find you?
At the moment, I'm going through a complete rebranding.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, but at the moment, they will find me under Dandelion Therapies, which is my website. So
Okay.
dandeliontherapies.co.uk.
Are
That is,
you on social media at all?
yes, I'm on Instagram, Natasha Joy Price.
Okay.
And yeah,
And any final thoughts you'd like to leave my listeners with today?
just to start thinking about energy being part of the equation, your energy field, and what that means. And there's so much information out there that people can go and have a look at. But just start understanding that it is part of your health equation. And so, if there's something going on for people, perhaps look at that aspect as well. Just like you clean your teeth or take supplements or tweak your diet or get some exercise, perhaps go and have a Reiki or have come from an energy management session and just check in on what's happening in your energy.
Yes, that's a great way to end this conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
Natasha, it was such a pleasure to meet you. I love what you're doing. It's so important. And I think as time goes on, more and more people will begin to be really open to it. I know there's a lot of
Mm,
people that are open to it already, but I
yeah,
could envision in the future it's going to really explode. And
I hope so. I hope so.
yes, I
I
do
think it is
too.
important. Yeah.
I do
So
too.
thank you. Thank you for helping to spread that message.
Oh, it was my absolute pleasure. Thank you for being here. And please come on again with any new things that are going on, new books that you have writing or whatever. I'd love to have you again.
Oh, thank you. That's really good.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining for this enlightening conversation with Natasha Joy Price. Today, we explored the incredible power of energy healing, the connection between our energy fields and overall well being, and how healing can occur on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. Natasha reminded us that we are so much more than our physical bodies, and that by becoming aware of our energy, we can create profound transformation in our lives. If this episode resonated with you, please take a moment to subscribe to my podcast, leave me a review, and share it with a friend who may benefit from this message. Your support helps us reach more women who are seeking greater health, vitality, and spiritual connection. To learn more about Natasha, her healing work, her books, Freedom of the Soul and the Red Magus, and her podcast, Balm to the Soul, be sure to check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter where you are on your healing journey, small steps taken consistently can lead to extraordinary transformation. Until the next time, I'm Susan LoPresti, reminding you to nurture your mind, strengthen your body, and nourish your soul. Be well and take good care of yourself.